Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. My guests tonight are here because one of their teammates and one of my former students had a great loss in his family. His father passed away. And it it shocked me because again, the student and the family are not the type to talk about their problems or ask for help or lean on other people, but I wanted the guys to come, the teammates to come in because they had started a GoFundMe. My student Graham is now going to college. He's a swimmer in college and incredible student, incredible guy. And obviously, now functioning with one parent, things are going to be harder for him. So I wanted them to come in to talk about their experience with Graham, talk about who he was and who he is, and help everybody kind of understand who the family is. If you can consider donating, I would personally greatly appreciate it. This is a different kind of family, and anything to support them is great. So, without further ado, let me introduce my guest tonight. The men, the myth, the legends, Evan and Brennan. So, you guys were out for a couple months, and then you had the summer. You started getting back in the pool. How's it been since then?
Um, well, it's been a grind. I mean, swim is one of those sports where it's like, actually, it's not really one of those sports. It's just a sport where if you're out of the water, like a lot of people don't realize it. Like if you're out of the water for like a day, like then you're like, oh, like shoot, like you come back the next day, and you're like, I feel kind of weird in the water. But if you're out for like even like a week, it takes at least another 1 to 2 weeks just to build back up to where you were that week that or the before you were gone. So like when you're out of the water for what was that, like 2.5 months that we were, and you get back in, it's gonna be at least 2 to 3 months before you're back to where you were before. So like that whole time we were back, or we had just gotten back, we were grinding so hard, and like the grind really hasn't stopped since then, except for like when we tapered, like in December. Like we tapered for like 2 weeks in December, and like that was really it. Other than that, we just been like grinding super hard and like just training our butts off, and it's really tough a lot of the time. I mean, you can't just like stroll in there and think you're just gonna run right through a practice. Like you're gonna stroll in there and expect to get beat up at that practice, and like it's hard. A lot of people don't realize that. So I mean, last couple months have just been like you just steady grinding. um I mean, we're working our butts off, swimming fast in practice.
And yet you look no bigger. You
Exactly.
look no bigger. I'm
Exactly.
amazed you can swim with those arms at all.
Exactly, dude.
The thing that gets me is Graham was one of those people, one of the students that I saw that could grind into oblivion. Like
Yeah.
he would come into class. He would come in. He'd roll in at like we had 7:30 classes. He'd always be here 10 minutes late, coming straight from swimming, and he would come into class. He's like covered in sweats, right? Because obviously cold out of the pool. He'd go straight to the freezer. He'd get 4 or 5 of the breakfast burritos, heat them up in the microwave, sit down, get his stuff out, go get the microwave burritos, eat them all, go straight to the work. I'm like, Graham, how are you? He's like, good. Like just eating the burritos. And then 15 minutes later, he's like, excuse me. He'd have to go to the bathroom. He'd be there for 10 minutes. He'd come back. He's like, you still got that protein shake here? I'm like, yeah, man. So this kid would just come in like a monster every single time. And it blew me away because I was like, how are you still standing? But he just knew how to push through.
I mean, there's not one bad thing you could say about Graham Horrigan's work ethic. I mean, he'd go to a 3-hour practice Tuesday night, come here, put in, what, an hour, hour and a half?
2 hours.
2 hours of studying. He'd go to bed, get maybe 5, 6 hours of sleep, be up at 5 the next morning back in the pool.
Yeah, he would say that. That's 100% accurate. He
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I got to go home. I'm back in the pool in 7 hours.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
And he took, I think, all weighted classes his senior year, so he was really just grinding until he graduated. And being at Boston University, I mean, an insanely amazing, academically prone school.
Like pretty much an Ivy League at that point.
Yeah, being a student athlete, this kid's he hasn't let up with the work ethic. And it's just
That was the other
amazing
thing.
see.
To your point, it is amazing because his senior year he could have taken easier classes. He was obviously a very successful swimmer.
Exactly.
He was academically very skilled, right? Like he wasn't dumb, but
Oh,
he
yeah,
could have
for sure.
just taken a semester. It's like, Graham, just give yourself a little bit of a break. That was not his jam.
No, he didn't let off the gas pedal, and he still hasn't.
Gosh, man, what a beast. Where does that come from? Do you think that was him, or do you think that was like his family?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think people are kind of molded by their surroundings, but they also come out just with a little bit of their own intensity, and I think he really willed that characteristic into being. I mean, especially being on the team that we're on, swimming, doing what we're doing. It's, you got to be able to put your nose to the grindstone.
Yeah.
And I mean, that he did it better than anyone I've seen.
God, the way you said that he willed that characteristic into being, that just seems so accurate, that he willed himself through his days. I did one of my earlier podcasts was about him because people talk so critically about young people today. And it's kind of like, you have no idea what some of my students, like, you would die if you tried to do what this kid did. And I'm not even talking about at the level he did, but if you want to go to school for 8 hours a day and learn new material, and people always say, adults always, the comeback is, I go to work and I get a grade. And if my grade isn't good, I don't get a paycheck. It's like, okay, yeah. But if you're in sales, okay, you learn what you're selling in the first 6 to 12 months. You understand the market. You have your own pipeline set up. And then you just do the same thing over and over. You might tweak something here or another. We're talking about students going to class, learning new stuff from biology every single day. And the second you kind of get a hang of it, the year's over and you learn something else new next year. Exactly. Right? And so Graham's going to classes through his day. Then he has swim practice for like 3 hours.
Immediately after school. I mean,
Immediately.
there's no turnaround.
I think he would come straight from school
Yeah.
every single day to swim.
Right. And then he would come here 1 or 2 nights a week, work on essays, work on his SATs, and then he would stuff down something like 4,000 calories, and 6 hours later he would be grinding again. It was like the average tough adult athlete couldn't survive that.
Exactly.
The wear and tear is tremendous. What's he like in his personal life? Like, what did your guys get? Because I could imagine him going to Costco and eating like a whole pizza himself or something, or like, because I mean, I was a swimmer and I had friends that were similar, not quite as skilled as him, but.
Oh yeah, so funny story. Fall 2018, I think it was what it was, when we had, like, it was the first round of all the fires, the wildfires with all the smoke and everything.
Yeah.
So this was the first time in a long time. I mean, like, the first time I could remember that we had, like, an extensive
practice cancellation.
Yeah, practice cancellation. So we, like, the coaches were trying to do what they could to, like, keep us in shape during that time. So
because we couldn't be outside because of the air quality.
Yeah, right.
We can't.
You're doing like push-ups inside. You can't do a push-up with those arms.
No.
There's no way.
No.
No.
Why do you think we had to go do a spin class?
Yeah, so so that's what we did. We went
Seeing you two, I would pay so much money to see you two at Star Cycle with the moms.
No,
that
so-
would be so great.
we went to a spin class at Fitness 19, and well, that was something. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So then me and Brennan and Graham after were just like, we're starving. Let's go get Costco food court. Because I mean, like, you go to Costco and like you get a hot dog and a drink for $1.50. I mean, like, you can't beat that nowadays.
Or
for a
10
little.
of them for $15.
Exactly.
In
you
Graham's
can't.
case,
You
yes.
can't beat that nowadays. And I think I had like 2 hot dogs and like an ice cream or something like that.
Evan put down a good bit of food for his size. It was
Yeah.
good.
All right.
Graham, I actually didn't think it was possible to spend this much money at the Costco food court. I think Graham spent $20 at the Costco food court, which
Oh, God.
is impressive. He comes over with, What was it? Was it 1 or 2 slices of pizza?
It was 2 slices of pizza. I think it was 3 or 4 hot dogs, 2 sodas,
A cheeseburger
no,
and
2 cheeseburgers.
2 cheese.
Yeah.
So no. So it was 2 slices of pizza, 2 cheeseburgers,
3 or 4 hot dogs, 2 sodas, an ice cream
and ice
sundae,
cream, and,
I think he had
like a
coffee.
frozen mocha or something.
This kid put it all down.
He actually ate the
It
whole
actually
thing.
He
ate
put it
all
all
of it.
down in 30 minutes.
And no, it
30
was,
minutes.
It was hilarious. Me and Brennan were sitting
my
there,
God.
literally cheering him on at the Costco food court to finish his food.
I mean, have you ever seen the Man vs. Food
Yes.
show?
It was
Yeah,
like
It's
that. It was like that. Like he got down to that last what was it? I think it was the cheeseburger. It was the cheeseburger.
And his palms are sweating.
We're
He's
like sitting there, and he's like slowly ooh, like
I mean,
slowly.
Evan's next to him, dabbing sweat off his forehead with a napkin. And
Like,
I mean, it got intense.
It was
It's like the scene from Cool Hand Luke when the guy eats 50 hard-boiled eggs.
yes.
So,
That's a little bit past your age, but it was a funny scene. Anyway.
Yeah. No, it was hilarious.
I mean, that's kind of when we got a real taste of Graham's work ethic.
Of who
In
Horgan
that-
was.
In
Yeah.
that regard, his work ethic.
Like not only his work ethic, but just like him himself. I was just like, this kid's something.
He
This
sets his
kid's
mind-
something.
He sets his mind to it, he gets it done.
This kid's something.
You know what's funny is, again, I see him in here, and I've always been impressed with him in here, but I recognize the limitations of my exchange with him, right? Because he comes in, and of course there's a friendship there, but there's also, I'm the teacher and he's the student, so I don't get to see the full thing. But every kid that I've ever worked with that knew him was like, "Oh my God, Graham's a god."
Yeah,
And it
no,
cracked me up.
yeah.
Like, look, I get that he's awesome. It's like, but what? And there's just this air about him. There's something about the way he moves through the world where you kind of realize you're like, oh, you're not messing around here. Like you are however you were raised, whoever did this for you. Again, that idea that like he willed himself into existence, because it's not like he's huge. It's not like he's 6'4".
No.
I mean,
No.
what is he, like 5'10"?
Yeah.
If
that's it.
that, probably 5'9".
Sorry,
5'9".
Graham, you're probably 5'8.5". But
We'll wrap that for you.
like broad shoulders and just a tank.
That
Yeah.
man's
Like-
a brick wall. He's a brick wall.
Well,
Yeah.
if you eat 5,000 calories from Costco, that's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So he was applying to a bunch of schools, right? Obviously, casting his net very wide, and he was writing these essays like a machine. He would come in and be like, "All right, today I got this, this, and this." I'm like, "Okay, man, like, but that's you're trying to write like 3 500-word essays." He's like, takes a bite of his burrito, and he's like, I got it. And he'd just start banging them out, and he really would. He would stay focused. It was almost like he was swimming like a 4-mile race, and he just didn't stop. And he would come up for air briefly and just ask a question, then just dive back in. It was really impressive to see him. What's his family like? Obviously, his dad has passed away.
Yeah.
What's his sister like?
His sister, she's funny. She's a funny character. She'd always pop in and say hi when we were over hanging out, over chilling in the basement.
They have a basement?
They have a basement.
They have a basement.
It was
Dude,
their
this
house.
man is not made for this world. Like, that's
No.
unbelievable. A
I've
basement in Walnut
never,
Creek.
Yeah.
Never met a person in my life in California that has a basement, and he got it done. He got the basement
Gosh,
done.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So Paige is cool.
We just heard a funny story about her today. I mean, I think she just had her birthday like in December, and her friends got her a hamster for her birthday.
Oh my god.
Obviously, her parents loved that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So they have a hamster now loose in their basement.
They let the hamster got out of the cage, and it's now, as of right now, there's been a hamster loose in this basement for like 2 weeks.
The hamster at large in the
Exactly.
Horgan basement.
Yeah.
I'm sure his mom just loves that. I'm sure she's just so tickled by it.
Oh, I would be so annoyed as a parent to have my daughter's friends show up for her birthday with the pet hamster
And the
as
daughter,
a gift.
Paige didn't know. She didn't know she was getting a hamster. So, oh, here's this big responsibility. Happy birthday.
Well, it's not even a big responsibility. The only responsibility you have is keep the stupid thing in the cage. That's all you have to do. Like, there are no jailbreaks with hamsters. You actually have to let them out of the cage.
Yeah.
Hear that, Paige? Come on.
It's all on you, girl. Yeah, that
on.
seems, with the basement and the loose hamster, that seems like one of those just classic American teenage stories. Like, my friends got me a hamster and then it got out and like my mom tried to kill it and then she freaked out one time when she was getting the laundry late night because it like crawled on her leg. If that hasn't happened, guaranteed it's going to happen.
Pretty much.
Probably will.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
So how was Graham's first semester at Boston? Did he tell you guys?
Yeah, he, I mean, it's all online, and they had very limited practice availability because they were splitting the pool with water polo and then having to keep it open for rec swim. So he was actually only able to swim for an hour a day. I mean, and going from, 22 hours a week on sharks to an hour a day was really rough, and I think it took a lot of getting used to for him. But as Evan mentioned, I mean, Boston's basically Ivy League level, so he kept himself pretty busy with school, and we talked to him occasionally, but he definitely missed home. He definitely missed his friends, but I think he enjoyed it overall, enjoyed the experience. But
Yeah.
He was just waiting to come back to hang out with us.
exactly.
We could
I
tell.
bet he was.
Oh, it's so nice. Funny story. As soon as he got back, I think it was the day after he got back. I've got like a 4x4 truck,
Oh my God.
and we're like, let's go off-roading. So we go to this off-road park in like Tracy, and we're having some fun. We're ripping it around, doing some donuts or whatever, and smart me goes over a big, huge dip, and bing, there goes my running board, just ripped right off.
Snap
Oh
the
my.
metal right in half.
This happened like a week ago.
No, this happened like
When he got back for winter break.
yeah, this happened like the beginning of winter break.
Yeah.
But like,
What did he say? He's like, hey, Evan, there's a part of your truck back there.
I remember it specifically. We go over the bump and I hear like this loud banging noise, and Graham goes, "That sounds like dollar signs." I actually remember that vividly.
Yeah.
I just hear Graham say, "That sounds like dollar signs."
Oh my God, that guy. The amount of money I would have paid to be there when he said that to you while you're driving. What did your mom do when you got home?
I mean,
Mr. O'Connell wasn't thrilled, to say the least.
yeah,
He was not happy.
yeah,
I bet.
yeah.
I bet he wasn't.
I mean, he called him right as it happened, and we're all standing there. The phone's connected to the car speaker, and he's like, "Hey, Dad." And Mr. O'Connell just hits him with, "What did you do?"
Ah,
And
that's over.
Yeah,
the rest is history.
yeah, it was tough.
I bet.
It was really tough.
What does Graham swim? Is he a sprinter or a distance?
Graham swims butterfly,
Yeah, Graham's a 100, 200 butterflyer.
backstroker too.
Yeah, 100 back.
Graham can rip some underwaters if I've ever seen
Yeah.
it.
What is it like to see him do the 200 butterfly?
Oh, it's actually super funny. Graham is like, I mean, obviously he's not like the tallest guy, so when he swims butterfly, like you'd think he'd try to like lengthen out his stroke, like to make up for his size, but no, he's just like, he's got like the shortest stroke I've ever seen, and it's so funny because like you see him swimming butterfly and he's taking so many strokes a lap. I'm like, you could be doing way less and saving so much more energy, but he's like sitting here like chugging along, and it's so funny because it's just like this little like stump of a man just kind of like skipping through the water on every stroke, and then you just start to see him slowly slow down as the event goes on, and it's actually hilarious. Another thing,
He's obviously adept at it though. Like he's
Yeah.
he's swimming at a D1 school.
oh yeah, no, he's good.
I mean,
But-
him slowing down is slowing down by Michael Phelps standards. This kid's moving still. He's still plugging away.
So he also swims the 100 backstroke. I mean, because like I said, he could rip some underwaters if I've ever seen it. Like, he's like blowing everyone out of the pool
Sure.
when underwater. So he swims the 100 backstroke, and our coach, I think it was last December, we had championship meet in Seattle, and coach put him in 200 backstroke. And I like 200 backstroke's like my best event. So like him and I were like both in the same event, like swimming it together. Like we weren't racing each other, but so we were because we were in like different heats.
That's why Graham won.
Yeah.
Because you didn't think you were racing.
Yeah. No. So we're in the warm up pool, and I'm like, oh, that was super hard, blah, blah, blah. And Graham goes, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna sprint the first 100, and then see what happens on the second 100. So I kid you not.
This man.
I kid you not, Matt. Like a good like split differential for like a 200 is probably like, like 2 to 3 seconds, right? Graham does his 200 backstroke, goes out 55, which is quick.
That's quick.
That's moving.
Right. That's fast going out in a 200 bag.
Comes back 105. 10-second split differential. I'm like, he does the second 50. I'm like, oh my God, he's doing it. He's going fast.
He's doing it.
He's doing it. And then the third 50 goes, and I see a split on the third 50. I was just like, oh,
that's a 30.
tough.
That's a 33.
That's a 35.
But you know what? That's just, I believe you, because like when you're doing the 200s, right? And you go out for that third 50 and you're just in the dark of the dark. You're like,
yeah, for sure.
God. I remember swimming the 200. I was not a 200 free guy. And in rowing, right? So the rowing races were like 5 to 6 minutes and they're 2,000 meters. When you cross the 1,000, you want to die and you're just halfway through.
Yeah.
So I know that feeling so clearly. And it takes a certain type of person to know what you're walking into and not try to like temper the effort. It's kind of like, no. I'm going to run straight into the brick wall and just see what happens.
It's exactly what he did. It was hilarious. And the coaches were so happy with him because he's just like, I've never seen someone like swim a race like that. Just so like, just ready to
just
go
gutsy.
Fast. Like,
he
exactly.
He left it all in the pool. I mean,
Like-
and that can be said for literally everything he does. I mean, academics, school. I mean, socially, he's always ready to hang out or ready to be there for someone if they need help them. I mean, tutoring, he's helped me with my classes. If I need someone to talk to, he's there. He's on FaceTime.
Kind of a lost cause, wouldn't you say? Anyway, it's good on Graham.
Yeah, good on Graham.
Good on Graham. Yeah, he when you texted me and said that his dad had passed and told me about the GoFundMe, I was appalled. I was like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. I was like, of course I don't. He's not the kid to ask for help.
No.
He's not the kid to complain about his poor lot in life. He's the kid to say, I'm going to run headfirst into the brick wall and see what happens, and just go from there.
Yeah,
Man,
he's not the kind of guy to have the spotlight on him. He's in the back of the class grinding. I mean, he's not gonna use anything to get himself further in life. He's gonna work for it.
Yeah, and like exactly that with swimming because I think it was this past year, or I guess last year, 2019. So we're on like the Shark swim team, and like we do the awards banquet, and like the highest award you get is the Great White Shark Award, and like we were all expecting like this one girl to get it because like she's super fast or whatever, and then Graham gets it. And the coach comes up and starts explaining why Graham had achieved it, and it all comes back to like what we were saying. Like, he's a silent grinder. He does not complain about anything. I mean, swim practices, I don't think I'd ever hear that kid complaining about a set being too hard or him being too tired. And he would just go right into it and just try as hard as he could, and sometimes he would die, and that's what the coaches were seeing in him, and that's what all of the teammates saw in him was his ability to just grind and grind and grind with his head down and have nothing in his way.
Yet, as an adult, I've tried to more develop my ability to look at horrible things and do that, right? Like I'll do them in my own sports training, right? I'll go as hard as I can for as long as I can until I just, collapse at like 3 hours or something. But to see somebody at his age with the ability to know that pain is coming down the pipe, to know that the package is in the mail and you can do something about it. You can tap out. You can say, hey, I'm not gonna go that hard. That's one of the things with swimming. You get to determine how fast you're going. It was very similar with rowing. You got to determine how much pain you administered to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just something about someone who's like, yeah, I'm going for max pain.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you talking about? They're like, yeah, 100%. And having that capability and still being the type of person he is. That's the other thing. There are wild men, right? There are wild people who are like, I don't care about anything. And they end up doing stupid things like that show Jackass and then the films, right? I saw the Steve-O meme the other day, and I remember that. I'm like, those were wild men, but they were wild to a point where it was humorous, but it was also like cringy.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not, they weren't wild in a way where you were like, awesome, I wish I could do that. They were wild in a way that you were like, geez, come on, guys.
Yeah.
And Graham is one of those people where you understand how wild he is, but you're so inspired by it. You're just like, how do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I didn't swim with him. I've only heard things about him, and I've seen what he does in class, and I've gleaned pieces of his life from the stories he told in his essays and just listening to who he is. It's kind of like, gosh, man, it's one of the reasons I loved working with him. Any investment you make in that guy, any little nugget of goodness that you give him, he's just going to multiply over and over, right? Like whatever he studies in college, whatever they tell him, I guarantee you he's going to be crushing it compared to the standard student body.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and just like you were saying, how those Jackass guys like, oh, that's cool, but you wouldn't want to be them. I mean, they're having fun, but I mean, Graham is someone that you want to position yourself around because his attitude, his work ethic, his positivity, his level of humor, it makes you want to do better. And God, having him leave for college this past year, him being a year older, it was hard. It was hard to go back to practice without him there.
Sure.
Hard to train butterfly without him. I mean, looking over and seeing him just beating on in the lane next to you when I'm tired, I'm like ready to throw in the towel. He's pushing off for the next 100 fly. I'm just like, he's doing it, I got to do it too. God. And just losing that this year was hard. So if I can do anything to support him in his time of need, I want to do it and do it right.
Tell me about the GoFundMe that you guys set up.
Yeah, so when Graham texted us about his dad, we were kind of caught off guard because we thought that he was doing a little bit better, but I mean, Graham, like I said, doesn't want the attention on him, doesn't want the spotlight. So me and Evan were caught off guard. We called each other after he told us, and we're sitting on the phone for 20 minutes just talking about Graham and just talking like what can we do for him? How can we help our friend? And we had the idea of just let's start a GoFundMe. I mean, it's something small, but it'll help. So we put it up, I think 2 days ago. We used like the swim team mail or email. We got some coaches to send out emails to swimmers. My parents put it on their Facebook, sent it to their Bible study groups. I contacted one of the swimmers on Boston to send it around there. And then Evan sent it to some of his school friends. I know his parents sent it around. I mean, just really trying to cast a wide net for this amazing family that has made such an impact, I think, on tons of people's lives. I mean, his mom does the clothes for the Los Lomas swim team. She designs all the stuff. She designs all the stuff for a summer rec swim team in Walnut Creek. I mean, their family has just helped and influenced so many people that whatever we could do to return the favor, we wanted to do. And I think we're on the right track with this GoFundMe.
For sure. I mean, like I said, I mean, we obviously asked Graham for his permission before, and he was just so grateful to have just like us do that for him, and that's one of the things you look for in someone is someone who's grateful. I mean, a lot of people could just say, "Oh, sure, like thanks," but he took the time to like actually tell me that he's appreciative of us, which is like it's awesome for someone like me or people like me and Brennan to like hear. Like we want to do what we can to help him, and he's gonna be appreciative of that. So that's all we care about. We want to help him,
Right.
and that's what this whole GoFundMe is about.
So I read the GoFundMe. This is specifically to help with college tuition, and obviously his sister's coming up at Los Lomas, and she's gonna have college coming down the pipe. I mean, I know there are a lot of things that people invest in, right? And when you think about people, you always want to make sure you invest in the right person.
Exactly.
As a teacher and a parent, I worry a lot sometimes about giving people too much, giving people too little, because you don't know, right? Like I think that's one of the big fears that a lot of parents and then like grandparents have and stuff. Like you don't want to make it so easy for the kid that they lose their edge, right? You don't want to give them too much so they don't earn it themselves. You want the investment to be returned. You want it to be appreciated. Man, I know any dollar invested in this family is just multiplied out so many times just because of who they are, And again, it's not like I was close family friends with his parents, but I know him. Yeah. I know him enough to know that he is a worthy investment and a good person. Yeah, and when you guys let me know, I was like, God, we gotta do something. We gotta do something because again, Graham he has so much to give, and if he had to take a leave from school because of financial reasons and stuff, it's like anything I could do to help him avoid that would be wonderful. When you have a trauma like this, right? I have not experienced this. I've had other things, but it has the capacity to derail you so much. And he's on such a hard charging, admirable, inspiring track. I would hate to see this be the kind of thing that throws him off. So anything people can do, if you're listening, I promise you, this is not the type of kid that's not going to appreciate it. This is not the type of family that will not do right by it. Man, he's the best investment I can think of.
He really is.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you guys reaching out to me. I'm going to put a link for the GoFundMe in the description. Graham, we love you, buddy. Hang in there.
We love you, Graham. We're here for you, bud.
Anything you need, hit us up.
Don't hit up Evan. Odds of him actually falling through are very slim. Hit me up. Anyway, please do consider donating a little bit if you can. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you for having us.